Katrina forced thousands out of flood-damaged areas, with many shifting to the North Shore.
That created growing pains on both sides of the lake. Rob Masson reports adjustments are still being made.
Every 6 months, these former Chalmette High School football players gather to break bread and rekindle old friendships.
When they put the pads on, no one wanted to play against them. They were tough as nails.
But they're not dining in St. Bernard Parish. Instead, they're eating favorites like veal parmesan and baked macaroni from back home in the heart of Old Covington at De Christina's.
St. Bernard, to us, it was a family parish. It was a special for me. I mean, I thought I'd never leave it.
De Christina's was founded in 2005 by relatives of the family which runs the St. Bernard institution known as Rocky and Carlos.
You can't go anywhere and beat this. This is good.
After Katrina, De Christina says its customer base tripled as displaced flood victims sought comfort over the comfort food they had come to love.
Our restaurant became a melting pot. It was people just talking to each other, crying.
They were part of a North Shore growth spurt, which continues to this day.
I've seen growth from approximately 200,000 just before Katrina to over 275,000 people in St. Tammany Parish today.
With all St. Bernard flooded and major swaths of Orleans and Jefferson, thousands relocated to St. Tammany and Tangipahoa parishes, where new neighborhoods sprouted up in places like Robert and Ponchatoula.
We believe we had roughly 20,000 people move to Tangipahoa Parish.
St. Tammany in general, one of the reasons why it's been such a fast-growing parish is about 30,000 individuals did move from the South Shore to St. Tammany post-Katrina, and we know that many of them, perhaps the majority, came from St. Bernard.
The migration spread. Southern Mississippi towns like Picayune also provided new homes for Katrina transplants.
There's one section they call Chalmette North.
St. Tammany Parish President Mike Cooper says the North Shore post-Katrina migration put a strain on some services.
Growth has outpaced our infrastructure, roads and bridges, drainage, water and sewage utilities, and we've been investing this past 5 years in trying to catch up.
St. Tammany and Tangipahoa parishes enacted building moratoriums because road and utility infrastructure couldn't keep pace. Though thousands stayed in St. Tammany, Tangipahoa President Robbie Miller says many new residents in his parish returned to the South Shore.
Many of them bought homes and reestablished themselves for a year or two, and then probably over the next 3 to 4 years, 5 years after, and maybe even a little bit longer, we believe roughly half of them moved back home.
For a while after the storm, New Orleans and St. Bernard Parish enjoyed a population rebound. At one point, the St. Bernard Economic Development District says St. Bernard was the fastest growing parish or county in the U.S., but the population only rebounded to around 44,000 people, about 2/3 of its pre-Katrina level of 67,000.
What's happening now in St. Bernard is the population is beginning to flatline.
And after years of steady post-Katrina growth, the U.S. Census Bureau says New Orleans lost more than 20,000 residents between 2020 and 2024, with the population now at 362,700 people. Some blame the New Orleans population loss to once spiraling crime, as well as a lack of affordable housing and other factors.
And I think it's critical for the next mayor of New Orleans that he or she is able to articulate what the New Orleans of the next 5, 10, 25 years is going to look like. I think we also have not done nearly as good of a job as we need to in New Orleans in remediating blight and putting in other policies to allow density.
But at places like De Christina's in Covington,
If you come in here on Friday night, Saturday night, I see everybody from St. Bernard over here every day.
more residents forced the owners to move into a larger space in the heart of Covington, serving up the kind of food these transplants and St. Tammany natives have come to crave 20 years after a hurricane few like to talk about anymore.
Love it. You always run into someone you know. It's a beautiful atmosphere.
Another 20 years would be nice.
Rob Masson, Fox 8 Local First.
If you missed the Our Journey special over the weekend, you can find the full hour-long special at fox8live.com.